Welcome back to Zwain Lamar podcast, coming at you from Innsbruck, Austria, the heart of the Austrian Alps. Today we're going to be talking about a destination that I had the opportunity to visit with my class at the MCE. It is called the Jungfraujoch, located close to Interlaken in Switzerland. Switzerland is a country known for its inspiring views, its fresh smelling air, traditional music, cool mountain climate, and of course, tasty and very cheesy foods. The country and its delicacies are a delight to all five senses, and the area surrounding Interlaken is no exception. Fitting to this stereotype that the Swiss have some of the best public transport in the world, this specific region, though mountainous, is very industrious and quite efficient. This combination of the holistic Swiss experience and its accessibility to the world makes the Interlaken area, excuse me, a hotspot for tourism. The Jungfraujoch alone is a key destination in the Interlaken region, and it is known as the top of Europe. And it welcomes 600,000 visitors per year. So it is a powerhouse in tourism. Having spent the day at the Jungfraujoch, I have some perspectives and possible directives in regard to this destination of Jungfraujoch. So this stylistic ethnographic paper will be evaluating the Jungfraujoch region to collect information from my own experience and turn this information into potential insight for the region. That's the goal, anyways, and I will carry out this approach through providing, describing, and assessing my experiences through the following senses in this order: tactile, gustatory, this is a strange word, but it'll make sense later, audible, and lastly, visual. So my tactile experience of Jungfraujoch. First of all, I did not dress accordingly. I should have had a look at the readily available weather forecast and temperature on the Jungfraujoch website. However, I did have a t-shirt and an Arc'teryx down jacket. Highly recommend, by the way, with jeans as well. And I was freezing, I would say, most of the time. And the sun was like a nice day for the Jungfraujoch. But hey, they don't call it the top of Europe for nothing. As we got higher and higher, I got colder and colder. But then we walked outside and the sun was like a warm blanket surrounding me, or a bonfire after a Fackelwandern, if I pronounce that correctly, through a blizzard, after a blizzard. But it wasn't to last too much longer. Shortly I found myself cornered in every direction, left and right, up and down, with I think the coldest I was possibly ever, and that was in the ice palace at the Jungfraujoch. I remember being very ready to get out of there, though it was still very beautiful. There was the movie Ice Age. There was a little ice sculpture of the squirrel with the nut in his hand, and he's frozen in an ice cube, right? Just a stuffed animal. And I guess you could say I felt a bit like that guy, frozen as an ice cube. And that takes me to my second experience through the sense of gustatory. This is taste, essentially. The taste, perhaps my favorite and most acute and critical sometimes, sense, was not let down on this trip. Crystal, as this restaurant that we went to was called, was quite nice. I had a cup of tea, which was perfect timing after being so cold, followed by plentiful platters of potatoes, baskets of bread, and nice sized bowls, really, because they kept filling them up, of fondue cheese. quite tasty. It was my first cheese fondue in my life, and in my opinion, it was very good. However, others in the class criticized the fondue as too liquidy or too alcoholic tasting, whatever alcohol they put in it, wine or schnapps, I'm not sure. Um, but nonetheless, perhaps their opinions are more generally accurate, as many of them have had the dish before, fondue before. Um, but nonetheless, I enjoyed the meal. Sadly, I I wish I had pictures, but I did not take any pictures of this cool experience, and it had a beautiful view as well out the window. Um, we also had a dessert, I think, and a coffee, but the dessert does not stand out as exceptional in my mind. However, what does is the free Lindt chocolate ball that awaited us outside at the Lindt store. It was free. It was great. And in addition, upon descending down back home, we each received a little square of Lindt chocolate as a parting gift that said, "Thank you for your visit" on the front. A very nice gesture. In my analysis, in my gastronomical opinion, if you will, the holistic food and drink experience, I would give about a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Um, Going to the third experience, the auditory experience. Close your eyes and just listen. Open your ears to the bustling of the Bahnhof, the footsteps on the platforms, the convergence of the chatter of many, many languages. Hear the whistling of the brisk wind and the song of the birds in the sky. What was that? Just the distant crack of the ice of the glacier sliding away ever so slowly. Yes, the Jungfraujoch was full of sounds, interesting and boring alike. And here are just a few of them.
So I see, because I mean they don't need the others, and the others need them. So the relation and
I give my best. Oh je. Oh je. I should. When I go back home, I'm gonna buy it.
Next and lastly is the visual experience. What I saw, and that was a lot. The gaze of and from the top of Europe, the Jungfraujoch, was very amazing. We ascended to the top and got our first glance out of the outside, that surrounded us on the Sphinx observation deck, as it's called. Not too bad. I looked to the north. Wow. To the east. Beautiful. Look to the south. Wunderschön, as they say. Looking to the wet. The what? Ew. I thought to myself. What is that? Is that a prison tower? Nope, just a gray, man-made, daunting tower looming over us. Very out of place. Very ugly, in my opinion. But I can say I enjoyed 3 out of the 4 sides of the observation deck. And following this, we went into the depths of the Jungfraujoch. The Alpine sensation, as it's called, was next. This dark part of the tour I found to be quite solemn and reverent to those who sacrificed their lives. I think our guide said there was 30 people who died in the construction, and it also paid respects to those who worked heartily on the project that allowed us to be like standing there in the first place. So it's pretty cool. Tip of the hat to them. Moving forth, we went into the ice palace as have already discussed. Very cold indeed. However, I did enjoy the artistry that went into these projects, much to see, like just beautiful ice statues, a piano. Um, the picture on the front of this podcast is also from there. Very aesthetically pleasing. But as I said, I was ready, indeed, very ready to get out of there. It was very cold. And then the tour guided us outside onto the snow. And wow, 360 degrees of simply wow. Like the nature, very stunning. It was like kilometers and kilometers of pure white in contrast with the blue sky, which is rare apparently to have such a beautiful day to be there. And another view is just like the jagged stony peaks that peek out amongst the white to greet the sun. It's just first class, what I would say, just first class beauty. Yeah, so I would say in my conclusion to the visual experience, the landscape, breathtaking, but the man-made aspects could use a little touch-up, a little work, which leads me very fittingly into the application and the recommendation. So reflection is important, yet without action, it could be all for naught. So here are some some factors of both successes and do-betters according to my own personal experiences. So some successes are the beautiful and natural location. I mean, that's an obvious win. The comfortable journey with the gondola and the entire journey up was quite nice. The good cuisine, not great but good. The fine service at the restaurant, very very good service, very kind. Also at the Lindt chocolate shop, very kind. The guides, very kind, but just very fine service. And also the fantastic transport. Yeah, it was comfortable, but also is so like timely, efficient, just very very good. Now to some do-betters. This is what I think Jungfraujoch could maybe emphasize more in the future. So, as I said, there were some ugly parts that hinder the beauty that is truly a shame, and could be fixed, in my opinion. Much of the interior seems pretty outdated, and even the outside, and kind of gave me 90s vibes. 90s, I don't know, like 90s USA vibes or something. Like it just didn't fit in the beauty of the landscape, a lot of it. Now with that said, it's possible, I think, to fix, and important to fix this. And then lastly, on the do-betters is the lack of things. There's a lack of things for those with disabilities to like partake in, especially those with an audible disability. So on to the recommendations. To be frank, I believe an update, as I said, in the infrastructure is a necessity, especially in the restaurant could definitely use some work, but a lot of it could use some work, and also when it comes to the food, people are at the top of Europe, with like A+ views, right? And they desire a meal to match this. So I would say it was good, but it could also improve some. So that's one recommendation. Also, an encouragement: keep up the great transportation. Excellent. Perhaps the entrance to the Ice Palace. At the entrance, some hand warmers or like some clean gloves, like wool gloves or cotton gloves even, could be provided, and maybe even blankets. That'd be amazing. Another thought on this: what I would have loved to have in my hand as I was walking through the Ice Palace is a warm mug of hot Swiss chocolate. that would just hit. It'd be amazing. Lastly, in my opinion, the most important perhaps is providing an experience to those who cannot appreciate what is in front of them because they simply aren't able to see it. For those who can see the awe-inspiring landscape, the saying stands: beautiful things don't ask for attention. They simply are beautiful, and people will continue to pay to see it. So the work is in another direction, not maximizing the beauty of the place, for it needs no human help, but instead finding creative and innovative ways to uncover this beauty, to showcase this beauty to those who cannot see it. Yes, all in all, Jungfraujoch highly recommend. I enjoyed this journey.